Welcome back to Figs Talks Fights. I'm your host, Brian Figueredo. Today we're going to get into this Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns fight, which is the main event for tonight's UFC Fight Night taking place on Saturday, May 30th, today's date, at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's dive right into it. Tyron Woodley, this is a major crossroads fight for him and as well for Gilbert Burns. So Tyron Woodley, look, he's coming off a 15-month layoff since losing his title to Kamaru Usman in March of 2019. This fight, he just simply didn't look like he showed up. It's not like, look, Kamaru Usman had an excellent pace on Tyron Woodley, never gave him a chance to settle for 1 second, but you could see it in Woodley's eyes. He just was simply not there. I'm not saying 100% motivated and ready Tyron Woodley would have beat Usman that night, but we just have to call it as it is. Usman did not beat the best of Tyron Woodley that night. So, best of Tyron Woodley going to show up tonight? Interesting to note, he's had a couple of 15-month layoffs before. Okay, one of the first ones he had was he beat Kelvin Gastelum for a #1 contender fight, and he sat out for even longer. I think it was something like 16 months he went between that fight and actually fight Robbie Lawler for the title. Okay, and this is going back to, I think, UFC 201, which would have been in August or the end of July of 2016. Look, he cleaned Robbie Lawler's clock and within a round put Robbie Lawler on his ass, pretty much put him out cold. He had to wake up, being told his title just got lost. I mean, the second time he had another layoff, he had an injury between the Demian Maia fight that he had in August of 2017, came back in September of 2018, and Darren Till was his next opponent. Darren Till was undefeated. He was hot coming into this fight, coming off a decision win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and previously taking out Cowboy Cerrone and under a round as well. I mean, everyone was talking like Darren Till was the future of the fight or the future of this division, okay? And with this fight, I mean, who the hell's going to take him on? People were more or less talking about, can Darren Till make weight at 170 pounds more than what Tyron Woodley was capable of doing to him? Look, Tyron Woodley, I think, took 2 shots in that entire fight. He made Darren Till look bad, even in the stand-up department, and eventually submitting him. So is this going to happen tonight against Gilbert Burns? I mean, Tyron Woodley is also 38 years old. At a welterweight, the lower the weight class as far as weight goes, the more the age, okay, speed and stamina you're going to rely on. There's a reason why you'll see heavyweights fight well into their early 40s. I mean, because all these things and the agility is not what they rely on, and the power is the last thing to go. Welterweight, that's literally, it should actually be, if you look at the weight classes from flyweight to heavyweight, this is more or less the middleweight division. It's in the midst of it, okay? But nonetheless, I mean, Tyron Woodley, for 38 years old, doesn't have too much mileage on him. There's a lot of 38-year-olds. I mean, think of a John Jones who's been fighting professionally since he was 19 years old. When he gets to 38 years old, I mean, he's going to have 19 years worth of mileage on him, okay? Tyron Woodley really only started to fight professionally. I think he made his debut in like 2009, 2010, okay? And he hasn't really taken a lot of damage in fights, okay? I mean, yes, there was the Nate Marquardt knockout back in Strikeforce. I think that took place somewhere around like 2011, 2012, okay? And, you know, he's taken a couple of decision losses here and there, but no one's just purely put on a beating on him. So, interesting. Now, Gilbert Burns, on the other hand, I mean, he's coming into this fight hot, fresh off a first-round knockout over Demian Maia that took place just in March. This was, Gilbert Burns fought on the last card that the UFC put on in Brasilia, Brazil, okay? It was actually the first non-attended UFC fight. This was just when the coronavirus and COVID-19 was just starting to take over and people didn't know exactly what we were dealing with yet, all right? Spectacular performance by Gilbert Burns, all right? Other than that, he's coming off a win over Gunnar Nelson. He's been a career back and forth, welterweight, then went to lightweight, and then has now come back up to welterweight. I mean, Gilbert Burns, I think he's working with Henry Hooft, okay, and the Usmans of the world down in Florida. All right, he's won World Jiu-Jitsu Championships. He's won the no-gis, the World no-gis. He's medaled in the IBJJFs. Okay, he's won the Abu Dhabis. He's an incredible ground grappler. But I mean, has anybody put Tyron Woodley into trouble? And good luck putting him on his ass. I think Rory McDonald did get a couple of takedowns off of Tyron Woodley. That's the last time I saw somebody able to actually like put him on his ass. Pardon me, outside of the Kamaru Usman fight. Hey, but Woodley's just great for exploding back up to his feet. Now, how these guys match up, I mean, their styles completely go along with each other. Tyron Woodley actually likes to fight off his back foot. If you notice in his fights, he's actually leaning more towards the cage, and as soon as his back heel, okay, gets past that black line, and you can start to see that the cage is coming up and guys are pressuring for him, he's lulling them into a false sense of security, and that's where that boom, quick Tyron Woodley bomb gets right in their face, okay? Gilbert Burns, he loves to pressure fight guys. So I think both these guys are going to accommodate their styles tonight. Who's going to come out on top? I really believe this is up to where Tyron Woodley is at in his career. Because if he's still in his prime and Gilbert Burns is just starting to reach his peak, we're going to find out where Burns' ceiling is and exactly where Tyron Woodley's floor is in this fight. Okay? I don't know if we're going to see him slowing down or not. Look, he sounds great. He looks great. But until they come to the cage, I mean, these guys age literally overnight sometimes. I don't think we're there yet with Tyron Woodley. I don't like making predictions at all, but I do favor him to win this fight. Okay? Gilbert Burns, I think we're going to get a decent showing from him. He seems very confident heading into this fight. Thinks it's his time. Thinks he has the skills to negate Tyron Woodley's wrestling. Even if he's getting beat up in the stand-up department, if he's losing against, you know, both these guys love to throw hands. If Woodley's getting the better of him, I mean, even as a welterweight and Gilbert Burns being a previous lightweight, I still think the speed advantage, especially with the hands, is going to be from Tyron Woodley, especially with the explosiveness. I mean, even if Woodley wants to take him down, I'm pretty sure his top game for grappling is going to be good enough to evade any serious submission threats from Gilbert Burns off of his back. Okay, Gilbert Burns, most of his great submission work has been from the top game anyways. So don't be surprised if you see Tyron Woodley, you know, get under some shots and just explode in a double leg just to keep Gilbert Burns honest coming forward. So should be a great fight regardless. If you enjoyed the content here today, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you next time about some other great fights coming up, all right? Till next time.